Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So you can see here, I've done a little bit on this guy, but maybe not enough to actually have him completed for this month's Tabletop Crafters Guild build off. The one for September, which is basically create a monster. I'll stick the link in the description of the original video. So basically, yeah, this is what usually happens with me, guys, right? So this guy I thought was a cool idea, and he is a cool idea, and you can see I've done some work with him here and kind of filled out his fur a little bit, put on his horns and did out his base a wee bit more and strengthened the ears with epoxy sculpt as well. So yeah, that's all good and he's coming along, you know what I mean? But basically as I was making this guy and I was kind of looking at people's comments from my last video and I got some good advice and I kind of looked into it and was kind of thinking what my options were and looking at all the cool ideas people had said as well in my comments. I wasn't really happy with the direction it was going because I really wanted to use the feathers. I was kind of being stubborn on it. I'm going to be honest. So I ended up with the idea of for this guy, I will use paper feathers, and these are just cut from pieces of paper folded, and I'm going to have to potentially work on how to do these better and do them correct scale to use for his wings, but that's just an example of them there. That is my idea for that guy going forward, but he isn't going to be my entry to the competition. It's changed completely. Thanks for your advice, guys, but it's just changed. I have no control over this. Basically, what I'm going for is this. Okay, so let me explain for a moment here. So this guy started off as a cheap Triceratops toy. So this is where the body came from and the head, but the head is quite different now. It's been manipulated, let's just say that. So the idea is it's actually a herbivore creature because monsters are always usually big carnivores and stuff like that. This guy's a herbivore. What he does, he goes by the beach, he goes by the water side, and he put his big long neck deep into the water under shore, and he puts head down, and that's why he's got his nostrils on the top of his head there, and so that'll be popping out the water along with these sets of eyes here to look in all sorts of different directions, right? To check for predators. And then what will happen is these filtering systems, like a crab, will filter through all kind of little bits and bobs on the shore, like plankton and bits and whatever you can find. And that's what all these little appendages here are, his little limbs to bring things towards his mouth, and then he opens up and eats them. So that's the idea behind that, right? And then he's going to have all this kind of mane of feathers. So it's going to be a real mix of, something different altogether. So that's the plan. I'm finished sculpting them, but this is why I wanted to do this video. I needed to show basically the work in progress before I get some paint on them. So the idea is I might finish up his antennae. They're not connected yet. I'll pop them on and maybe sculpt a little bit around to mix them in. Then I'll spray him up tomorrow, and I can put some colors on him. Have an idea for a color scheme, and then the feathers will go on after. So it's going to be a really weird, something different creature altogether, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something no one's seen before, or something quite alien. And he is quite, he's quite big, but he will be kind of a big lumbering beast, kind of a neutral beast until you attack him. Maybe you have to, like, the feathers are quite rare or something like that, or these kind of spines, these are to protect. So when his head is in the water, this will be pointing out, and it's kind of to protect against predators and that kind of thing. That's why his body's so armored, and that's just popsicle sticks, and I think these were old paintbrushes sharpened. This is the wood parts because I was going to throw them out, and that's a rock. I actually don't know why I put that there. More defense. It looks like you can paint it up to kind of look like hardened armor shell kind of thing. But that's this guy. I've not really got a name for him, but I think this is what I'm going to enter because it's coming near the end of the month. Like I said, Tabletop Crafters build off for September, the monster one. So I need to get something in for it, and this guy just is something different, and I'm going to have to go with him. Well, I did originally for his neck here. That was just tin foil for the actual base, and then I did some hot glue Then I did some PVA and Mod Podge over it, and it's actually, you know, quite hard. It's going to be built onto. I'm going to spray it black and maybe do a dry brush on it, but then I'm going to poke a load of holes in it and stick the feathers through. So I will use the feathers without having to paint them at all. So I'm using the straight colors of the feathers, and I think I should have enough with using just a few colors, and it should work out. So in that kind of way, I'm kind of skipping over the problem of having to paint the feathers themselves. So yeah, this guy, I kind of did a little bit of research in like crab mouths and stuff like that, but really it was just kind of have a go at it. And you'll see obviously the sculpting on the eyes and that aren't super technical, you know what I mean? They could be a lot better. Like this one's looking in another direction, but I did that on purpose just to show that you can look in all directions, because he's kind of like got 3 sets of kind of chameleon eyes. He can look in different directions at one time, you know. But yeah, I've not got a name for him, but that's him. He's going to be my entry, and I'm actually really looking forward to painting him up and having him done. So that's him. He's actually quite big. He's big scale, or Jesus, he's bigger than large. He fits on a 3x3 base, but just barely. So I think I'd nearly have to give him something bigger than that, but I'm not really worried about that. So far I'm just want to make him really. Another thing that I'm actually kind of messing with is this stuff they had in work, and they weren't using it, so they gave it to me, and I was going to buy this stuff ages ago. 2-part, it's something similar to a milliput, but actually I think I prefer it, and I've got a good bit of it. So I've been messing with, you know, sculpting up silly little things like this little monster here on a Kinder Surprise toy. Just trying to mess with some texture, and that's milliput horns as well. So just silly little things as well, just to do while things are drying. But yeah, going forward, guys, this is going to be this big feathered crab beast, I think, something like that. I'll go with. So if he turns out well, and you see him entered, hopefully I'll have him done in time. You can drop a vote on him if you want, or make something yourself and get it into the competition before the end of September. And like I said, I'll leave the original video down in the description. All the details will be there, and hopefully you can make some cool stuff. Okay guys, cheers. Yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, thanks.